Hello, good afternoon, Prinhound Dar. Welcome to this. This is my first video I've done on art ever. My name is Ben, but I'm painting under a pseudonym of Vortinoir, which is a long story, and I won't get into that right now. We'll see how the channel goes first. As you can see by this picture you're looking at here, I've been trying to sort of experiment with colours a little bit, play around with figures and so on and so forth. For me, painting kind of largely, well, I've been painting for a long time on and off, but I sort of really began branching out during the lockdown. So this is a finished painting here, so I'm just going to pop this one out of the way, and then we've got this painting that I'm working on at the moment. Now, as you can see, I've sort of started it. You can see, again, an abstract use of colour, obviously paintings for the flesh there. Working on, I've done a range of paintings altogether. This one, obviously, female nudes, and the reason I've done a few female nudes was when I sort of started painting in lockdown, I put a few on eBay and was quite surprised that they sold. And because they sold, I have then done more of them, and so on and so forth. Now, they haven't sold for very much money on eBay, I must admit, so part of the reason I'm sort of going to try and do videos is to sort of try and boost my exposure a little bit, sort of maybe try and branch out a little bit more. I will be honest about that's what I am trying to do. Now, I am mainly using three colours for this, although I am using a little bit of white, as you can sort of see here. The white is just to take the edge off. I've overextended a shadow there, and I'm painting using acrylic. Now, I love using acrylic. I began using acrylic many years ago to do like wargaming figures, Warhammer, and so on and so forth. And as such, I kind of got very used to acrylic and find it to be a very nice, versatile medium. I have done some watercolours, I've done some pencil drawings, I've done a tiny bit of oil, but I've always found watercolour, acrylic is my favourite, especially because you can get a range of uses of it. So you can use it almost like it's a watercolour, add plenty of water and you can make a wash, or you can use it as oil colour using the paints direct. And the paints I'm using, let's just hold this one in here. So this was a Korea box one. They're not very expensive paints. I tend to buy fairly cheap paints. The other ones I'm using are Crawford and Black. You can't really see that one so well. Let me get the yellow one, it's a bit easier to read. And they come from The Works, which is a shop in the UK that sells sort of fairly cheap art supply. They're certainly not... I find for the purposes of what I'm doing, they're absolutely perfect. They're fine. So I know that there are issues around the quality of the paint and the quality of the paper. So it's important. I think the paper is probably more important for me than the paint. I am using proper art paper. So I've been building up shadow and shade on the body here using primarily the yellow is the base colour. So as you can see, the yellow has been painted sort of all across and spread fairly well. The other colours I'm using are the red and the brown to create the shadows, because obviously really when you're painting almost anything, what you're painting is shadows and shading. Now you'll see I use my thumb there quite a bit, and I do quite a bit of sort of smoothing things around and things using my fingers. It does mean obviously I get paint all over my hands, but I find that it's one of the most effective ways to sort of smear things into place, and I use that quite a lot. So I'm just working around this, around her chest here. I'm not sure who this model is, but yeah, so she obviously has quite a figure. Working on up to around here, so we're getting a bit of shape to the body coming on now. A little bit more pink over by here. Now this, looking at it, you can sort of see I'm going to leave this bit very pale by here around this area, because you can sort of see that's where the light is catching the body in the photo, and I'm just going to very gently smear some pink on by here. So you can see how with acrylic it's very easy to put on sort of fairly small amounts, which is the beauty I find of acrylic. Working then around this sort of area where it's a bit more dark, we've got deeper shadow, and it will ultimately get me the brown paint in there as well to sort of mix it up a little bit of shadow around this, the collar, the chest bone here, so on and so forth. Now obviously today I'm doing a female nude. I have done, I do other things as well. I've done a bit of an odd combination, I will concede. It's a mixture of humans, so a few faces, portraits, and so on, and which actually does go fairly well with the nudes, but also animals and curiously steam trains, the sort of hobby I have. So I've done a few steam trains. I don't have any to hand to show right now, but there are steam trains out there. So this one, again, you can see I just sort of gone over the line a little bit there. I don't tend to panic too much if that happens. It's quite, again, it's the versatility of acrylic. It's quite easy to sort of redo mistakes. And coming up this amber here, I'm going to add a dash of water to the paint. As you can see there, it sort of smears it out a little bit more, loses the strength of the colour a bit, which is what I was aiming for. Sort of this whole, the sort of general sort of slight flexion of the arm there. So you've got a few sort of bits that, there we go, let's just sort of gently rub this one in. And the darker colour is coming in the bottom. So it's just going up by her arm here. Not too strong, just a bit stronger than the base colour. And again, the shadow then is now down here, although again with the light source for this particular picture, it sort of doesn't quite catch the edge of her body as her hand there goes into her the hair she's got here. So there we go. So that's just smearing that one again, a little bit of smearage there, just sort of rubbing the colour gently in, taking an edge off there. Few bits, again, like I say, it's quite easy. One of the things I really like about acrylic is it's quite easy to sort of get rid of areas as well. So, you know, if I can just put a strong dose of white over something if I've made a mistake and I'm not sure about it. Sometimes I can use a bit of black as well if I've got bits I want to really sort of darken down. Try not to use black too much. I was always told by an art teacher of mine, don't use black too much because it tends to draw the eye far too strongly to one area, and I think there's a good point to that. You know, he is, or I assume he may still be around, a very experienced painter. Mainly worked in watercolour, but certainly I do listen to what he had to say because I've seen his paintings and his father's paintings, and they are very high quality work, certainly higher than mine. But again, very different to mine. You know, he was painting, well, primarily ships actually. He was a marine artist. Some really nice paintings that he'd done. So working my way gently up this here. So this is obviously the deeper shadow under the armpit here. Much deeper than the next bit. So working my way up here. Just sort of smearing it in a bit. Don't need to be too careful with my shading. This arm here doesn't need to be darker altogether really, because most of this arm is underneath the shadow of the picture. So I'll bring this down here, but again, just the way this picture works, just leaving a bit of yellow showing around the edge, and again sort of blending it in using the finger there. You can use bits of paper towel as well, but I just find a finger much more effective for sort of smoothing the paint gently into position. There we go, looking quite reasonable along that arm by there. Probably going to need a little bit more just to darken it up a little bit in the middle. So when I want to darken it up, use a lot less water and a lot stronger colour. So going in by here, just adding that in towards this sort of upper bit of the arm. That's probably where I'm going to be wanting to put in some more red, some more of the pinky colour. Now, I will say one thing, I probably won't do this hugely long video. Unfortunately, or just as it is, it's a bit of a ramshackle affair. I'm actually painting on the floor at the moment. I normally always paint at a table. I don't really tend to do easels, but I do tend to paint at a table. The reason is to set up my phone in a position so that it could film me and I could talk. This was the easiest place to do it. So I haven't got a particularly high-tech or complicated setup. My phone is just held in a small vise, which is just resting on the arm of the sofa and looking down on what I'm painting now. So again, there you can sort of see there that the colours are coming through. Now I'm going to add a tiny bit of white in one of the areas just to sort of smooth that bit off before I go work my way back down towards the chest. So let's just get my white in by here. There we go, a bit of white, smooth that bit out a little bit, and then back towards the chest again. So I'm mainly using a sort of range of fairly fine brushes as well. This one is, what's this one, size 2, so it's not using big brushes. I tend to do sort of fairly small strokes with this. I like to sort of develop the painting in areas rather than trying to do the whole thing. Yeah, so I'd already done the legs. I can do the legs and then work my way up. Just smoothing this one in here. Just going to smooth that off a bit. Smooth off a bit of the brown. Don't want to be totally carried away with it, but that's looking about right there. Just sort of darkening down on the skin. Again, I'm just probably going to want a tiny bit of tidying up with a thicker white paint at the end there. Now with this one, I was going to do, so we've got around the edge of this, around the edge of the nipple here, just sort of adding in a bit of darkness, just to give the impression the nipple then actually is sort of lost in the shadow here. Let's add a bit of shadow underneath this bit here, bit of darkness, taking it away, taking away that flesh by there, just easing that off, smoothing that gently over here as well, just sort of smoothing it across this area by here, getting that colouring in there. There we are, so that's sort of picking up, that's got the shape of that pretty well. Do need a bit more of the pink, I think, just to sort of offset the colour here. So the pink is going to come in again. You can see this is where I'm using it more like oil now, so I'm not flushing it in. It's sort of dabbing it in, get the stippled effect by there. Now then, I am going to have looking at this picture, just getting a dash of white. Because I haven't been using very much white. I haven't been putting it out on the palette, so I'm just taking it straight from the pot, which doesn't really work as well. But try not to use too much paint. I have to be a bit frugal at the moment. Finances are a little bit tight, to say the least. Adding that colour in there. Let's see, I might actually use a dash of the yellow as well here, just to bring this up again. There we go. So the sort of, there we are, bringing that up there. Just going to be adding in then, drop my paper in the water. I'm using the paper mainly actually to just clean the brushes at the second. So just this sort of shadow in the middle here. And then I'm going to be working underneath a little bit more shadow then as well. So a bit there, so that, and then this shadow under here, this sort of darkest shadow under the sort of curvature of the breast here, just around by here, which is sort of where the body's disappearing into the darkness from the lighting of the picture. And there we go. Now I'm going to stop the video there, because I think you've got a reasonable sort of idea of where we're going and everything else. I'm just going to look at just tidying this area up here. This is one thing I do find with painting, and it's really enjoyable in a lot of ways, is that you sort of look at it and you think, oh, I'm just going to change this a little bit, and oh, just change that a little bit. And you do spend a lot of time just sort of tweaking. And you'll look at it and you'll sort of sit, particularly one of the things that's a really good idea is step right back from the picture, pop the picture in the sort of far side of the room and look at it across the room, because really most pictures are not designed to be sort of stared at closely. Again, got a little bit too much red gone in by there, so you can see again, beauty of acrylic. You can just get rid of that, you can just take it away. I'm going to use this time I am using a bit of paper towel, because this time I don't want to leave the colour, I want it to be gone. And there we are, so sort of working up the left hand side of the lady's body there. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that so far. So a few tweaks still to work on, a few bits to sort of add to. As I keep going with this, it's the beauty of it is like, you look at it and you think, oh, let's just change that a little. Or yeah, do that, and ooh, tiny bit there, and you can get really quite sort of involved with the painting, and it really does feel very sort of rewarding and satisfying when you get to the end and you sort of put it up and you think, oh yeah, actually That's come out really nicely. Anyway, so there we are. So, like I say, this is my first video. I will hopefully do a few more exploring painting and what I'm doing as we go along. Like I said, I will try and sort of do a range of things. I am sort of like, as I sort of mentioned, I'm hoping to sort of branch out and try and sell a few more paintings and you know, make a little bit more of an income from doing them. I hope that potentially I have the skill to, you know, not necessarily like live off them, but at least make a small income from them to supplement my own wage and help me through some pretty tricky times at the minute. But there we go. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching. If you have watched, please do remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will try and answer any questions. Obviously, it's my first video, so I don't know if anybody will actually end up watching it at all. But I will keep posting a few videos, and we'll see where we go. Anyway, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Au revoir and goodbye.